Hello, hello. Welcome to another edition of the Boba Joe Show. I'm a bit more orange today. I look different.
Yeah, looking a bit pale there, Johnny.
It's the style.
Like
It's
your
a new
haircut.
stylist I got working for me. Yeah, I've got nice hair and everything.
Oh, ponytail. Man, how's everybody doing out there? Hope yous are all keeping well. Ready for some Vice action.
Yeah, hope you're starting off the mean streets of Miami.
A return for us to Miami. We've been here
Yes,
before.
we have back in episode. I can almost read that 31. Damn glowy fonts. Episode 31. We did the Miami Vice TV movie pilot. That would be at least a year ago, I think. But today we're talking about Castillo. Bushido is what it says, hopefully, according to the thing I put those graphics on there. Episode special about Castillo, who is like the police captain in the show, where he comes into the later half of season one after the other one. The former police captain gets murdered. Edward James Olmos, brilliant actor, and he also directed this episode, which apparently he did this, and the next time he directed something was an episode of Battlestar Galactica many years later.
Well, this was I don't know if it was his debut in directing.
Yeah, it was. That's what I was
It
reading
was.
just before we started.
Well, it's an excellent debut, if that's the case, because it's a great episode of Miami Vice. One of the
Yeah,
best, I would say. Had a great time rewatching it a few days ago. Brilliant, brilliant episode. Some of our faves here.
yeah. That's another slide I carried over from the episode. It was just like when I grabbed a bunch of graphics of guests and stuff, and old Liam Neeson down there, and Ed O'Neill with his phone acting.
Bruce Willis. That Ed O'Neill
Phil,
episode is fantastic.
yeah. Old Cosmo Kramer's in the episode too. He's not on there, but he's in the episode as well.
Birdie Larry making a return here.
Yeah, he's in so many episodes. He pops up. Sometimes you don't see him for half a season. Then he's in like 2 or 3 in a row.
Yeah, fantastic cast of characters, and yeah, when we reviewed the pilot, obviously, yeah, there was the old police captain, Lieutenant Castillo, hadn't come in yet as a character. He hadn't been introduced, and we even said at the time, I think, possibly either during that episode or in the aftermath of recording, that we wish he had kind of been in it from the start, because he's both one of our
Yeah,
favorite characters in the show. So, and
yeah,
the
he's
show
brilliant.
definitely, from the moment he kind of turns up in the show, I think it really picks up in quality, overall. So
Oh, for sure. I was
he's a
reading,
great character.
looking up some stuff online. I was just reading like a random user review about this episode, talking about it, and I read the. That's why I was just saying how he's like directed the episode and that. But the best comment here is like, Castillo is a strange guy, but always interesting to watch, even when he says nothing, which is most of the time. It's pretty accurate.
He's a man of few words.
Yeah, that's the strength of him, really. He's like because he has this background of being in the. I always confused whether it was DEA or CIA. I think it was CIA. He was in like all sorts of weird secret ops and bloody guerrilla warfare and all kinds of stuff. He's got this like long sordid background, and that you find out over several seasons. There's like some other one-off specials and that about him. I chucked in a brief summary here just for anyone who doesn't really know this character. So I'll have a look at this and then we'll get into the episode proper. So Lieutenant Martin Castillo is a key character of the Miami TV series, portrayed by actor Edward James Olmos, who was also years later in the Battlestar Galactica remake, where he's absolutely brilliant in that. He becomes the captain of the Vice unit after the original Lieutenant Lou Rodriguez is killed in the first season. He was known for his calm, stoic, and enigmatic demeanor, which contrasts sharply with the more flamboyant personalities of Crockett and Tubbs. He has a mysterious past, which does get fleshed out over the seasons here and there. The experience in covert operations, likely linked to the CIA and DEA. Well, there you go, both. Because I can never remember which. he worked in Southeast Asia during the Vietnam War, and he also had links to some of the like drug wars and other stuff going on back then, like the Golden Triangle was a 2-part one in another season. And his history often affects his decisions and actions on the show. He's a disciplined and quiet leader, preferring to listen and observe rather than bark orders, which is such an awesome thing, the way he almost plays the character. You can tell he's a man of real strength and conviction, the way he shows on the screen. His leadership is subtle and effective. He's deeply committed to his team's safety and the mission at hand. Unlike some other characters who struggle with the moral ambiguity of their work, Castillo has a strong sense of justice and operates with integrity, even to the point sometimes he pisses off people he's working with because he's so. It's not just that he's by the book, and he's like a good, morally good person. He won't do like the wrong thing, even if it is. It's not always about what the law is. It's about doing what's the right thing for the situation. He keeps his personal life private. Occasional episodes hint at his past relationships and emotional depth. His character is often seen as a mentor and father figure to the Vice unit, especially Crockett and Tubbs. Almost his portrayal earned him critical acclaim. He even won an Emmy Award and a Golden Globe for his performance. Castillo became one of the most memorable characters in Miami Vice due to his quiet strength and complexity. And he's just such a brilliant actor, and he's so good in this role.
Fantastic. And yeah, he is a fantastic actor, and he's appeared in so much stuff that I enjoy. But yeah, his character in Miami Vice, it really, like we were saying, it from the moment he's introduced, it just changes the overall tone of the
The whole
show a
dynamic.
little bit. Like, and because we have like the previous guy who was in charge, he was that kind of typical, you better get to the bottom of this, and I don't want,
it's just
the
like
mayor, blah, blah,
every other 80s
the
police
usual.
captain and, like Police Academy or Lethal Weapon or bloody Beverly Hills Cop, any of those.
Mirrors on my ass. You have to go by the book, Tubbs, just this type of stuff,
Yeah.
Whereas,
And he really
what we
suited
see.
the style because you got the more flamboyant characters and then he's like more quiet and reserved, but also, well, he doesn't dress in the colorful colors they do because they're meant to be undercover and showing, like wealthy and all that tailored clothes. He's always in a suit. He always looks neat and presentable. He's always in a suit. I mean, not the right comparison, but like a Vince McMahon. There's never a crease in his suit. He's always proper and always upright and good posture.
Yeah, no, he's the man. And like, as we're about to find out when we watch and revisit this episode, he's also a total badass.
Yes.
To the point like where, I'm sure we'll be talking about it, but you kind of wonder like, why this guy, is he totally wasted just working the Vice Squad?
He
Maybe he
comes
should be
across as
running
like
the
really
country.
vanilla and reserved, but then you find out he has like all this background stuff and other things, and this is almost like a holiday compared to other things he's done in the past.
But we kick off here, and we're shown a stakeout essentially. So we've got these
Yeah, they're all
public
undercover.
bathrooms. Yeah,
They're
we're
trying to
down by
catch
the
some
beach.
drug trafficking.
I love seeing the individual team members doing their different undercover gimmicks.
Yeah,
Like, you've got the girl on the roller skates, you've got another one pretending to be a bum, but you can see
yeah,
he's like, as he's lying there, you can see his like firearm, his
yeah.
holster is on display. Of course, we've got Crockett and Tubbs watching from across the street with a very, very high tech night vision telescope. Crockett even remarks what a great piece of equipment that it is. He absolutely loves it. So they're staking out these public bathrooms. They seem to be waiting for a drug deal to take place. So as
Hmm.
they're watching people coming and going from the building, and
And there's a heck of a lot of people because there's a heat wave. And as I was rewatching, I'm like, why are there so many people at night just running around? Because there's a heat wave. The sun's gone down. They've all come out because it's bit cooler at night by the beach.
yeah, and Crockett, both like everybody's complaining about the heat, and yeah, it's a really sweaty episode of Miami Vice. This one, everybody just looks tired and sweaty and uncomfortable a lot of the time. We also see working in conjunction with the Vice team tonight. We have DEA agent who
Sounds like
is
Rambo.
definitely, yeah, he thinks he's Rambo. He's also definitely somebody. I've seen him in a ton of stuff, but I just can't think of
Yeah,
who he is
there's,
at the
there's always
moment.
lots
But
of good character actors that pop up in the show.
so he's there. He's waiting for the target to arrive. So this drug dealer arrives. He's got his crew with him, who are all totally inconspicuously holding jackets over their arms, definitely not
Yeah,
concealing any firearms. Like they're literally, standing like this.
yeah.
Oh, I just like to hold
There's
my
no
jacket this
shotguns or
way.
Uzis or nothing under there.
So the undercover DEA guy and the drug dude go into the bathrooms to conduct a deal, while the Vice team kind of round up his security that had come along, and Crockett and Tubbs ordered them to close in, and basically they're going to do a bust. This deal has just been a setup, and they're going to catch this dude in the act, or so they believe. So they bust into the bathrooms and go to confront the guy, only to find the DEA agent has been tied up in one of the bathroom stalls and gagged. And in the other bathroom stall, the drug dealer has been killed and left hanging upside down with all his cocaine thrown across the floor and like stuffed down the toilet. And
Yeah,
also the
mess.
$500,000 in cash that the DEA guy had brought with him as part of the sting has also vanished. So the whole operation is a bust. It's total
Yep.
mystery and chaos, and that's how we kick off the episode before the awesome weekly Miami Vice musical intro by
Yeah,
Jan
I'd never
Hammer.
skip it. I'd never skip the intro, and the music and the intro are just absolutely awesome every time.
Oh yeah, shows like this. To be honest, I'm not really one for skipping intros and shows I like generally. Anyway, I'm a beginning to the
And
end type of
anything
dude.
modern, anything made past the year 2000, that I can't think of any shows that I watched the intros for. It's all old shows. It's all 80s stuff.
I watched all those previously on Battlestar Galactica, so
Oh, get the DVD set, and you just get to see all those previously back to back. Or 24. 24 was the best at recapping. Like, if you're watching the box set of 24, as I've done many times, staying up all night, I don't know if I've ever watched a whole season in actual 24 hours. I've nearly done it though. But all the recaps and the bits are like, oh my God, skip, skip, skip.
so after our intro credits, we're at the cop station. Castillo and the rest of the team are going over what happened. How was the bus so botched? What happened to the money? The DEA guy, he's not really happy to talk about it. He's obviously embarrassed that he got blindsided and tied up and gagged and made a fool of.
Yeah, he said he got
Claims,
choked out and just, or he said he saw stars, meaning the guys like choked him out, didn't even see him, like,
yes, yeah, didn't see him, didn't get a look at
or
him, has
maybe
no
hit him on the
idea what
back of
he
the
looks
head, but
like.
he doesn't really say. I assume he choked him.
So the DEA guy, he facts off, and we're just left with the usual Vice crew in the room, and Tubbs and Crockett, they're remorseful of how everything went foul, but they can't offer any explanation for it. But Castillo,
Yeah, it was
he
like a
starts watching
routine sting. It wasn't even like a big level thing, It was like something to do all the time.
yeah, exactly. Like, how did you make such a botch of this? But Castillo, he is watching back some of the night vision footage that Tubbs recorded earlier, and he notices this. He recognizes a man who's entering and exiting the public bathrums just
Yeah,
right
man has been
before everything went down.
leaping around through time on Quantum Lake. Well, I mean, it was Owl on Quantum Lake. It wasn't Sam
That's right.
or Dean
And who
Stockwell.
would later he'd later come across again in Battlestar Galactica, years
Oh yeah, he
later.
was, wasn't he? Yeah, as well as being in like David Lynch films and other stuff in the 80s, and he was in all sorts. Langoliers, he was in that one. Stephen King.
So he recognizes this man as his old partner Gretzky. And when he says old partner, he elaborates essentially that this guy was a deep cover operative, worked close with, what they refer to as the company, but it is also like kind of sometimes referred to as an intelligence agency within the show. They
Yeah, so
crop
like
up from
Vietnam
time
and
to time.
CIA and shenanigans and
But Castillo, he's pretty kind of, he's his usual kind of somber self, but you can see this, seeing the footage of this man has clearly affected him. This man, Gretzky, appears to be someone who is very significant to him, and he warns Crockett and Tubbs that this man is very dangerous, that he's like a professional killer, and to not approach him under any circumstances, and that Castile is actually going to handle this himself. He doesn't want any extra manpower. He doesn't want any backup, and he's going to go and investigate this himself and get the missing money back.
yeah.
Of course, in order to find out a bit more about why Gretzky is in Miami, Castile, he
Resort to
visits
deep strike.
two. Yeah, he has to visit two agents who are currently undercover, two agents who work for the intelligence agency, and they're operating out of an adult bookstore. Is the best
It's
way
the
I can
most
phrase it.
tackiest looking set I've seen of the show. It's like,
Yeah, well, it's filled with like blow up dolls, and it's got the polka dot paint on the walls and stuff.
I mean, they must
These
have
two
had fun
guys,
doing the set because they've intentionally made it just look as bad as possible because it's meant to look like a piece of shit store that's not in use.
yeah, like a totally obvious front. Oh, we're definitely like the CIA,
Yeah,
we're totally
yeah,
legit here. But yeah, these two intelligence agents guys that Castile goes to meet, like one of them's the dude from the X-Files. What's it, Deep
yeah.
Throat?
He was like the
That
deep
that
throat
guy,
character in X Files. He's in
and
loads of stuff.
the other guy's in loads of stuff too. I always I remember him as he's the caretaker in Die Hard 2. He's like an airport
Yeah,
maintenance man. That's what I
yeah.
always remember him from.
I like that.
But yeah,
There's so
these two
many
guys.
awesome guests and character actors turn up in Miami Vice. Like just about every episode has someone.
Yeah, you'll always spot somebody that either that from something, or that went on to become
Yeah,
famous later on. But yeah, these two guys are great. They're basically a couple of pricks to Castile. They're like, look,
yeah.
yeah,
They don't
Gretzky's in
want to tell
town.
no.
We're not going to tell you the full deal, other than this: he's now married to a Russian woman that he has a child with. She's ex-KGB, and we believe that he has crossed the line. He's no longer working for the Americans. He's now working for the Russians, and we basically need him to either be taken in, or we need him to not be alive anymore. It's
Yeah,
it's one or the other. But either way, they want him, and they want the wife as well. So that's the reason why they are in Miami, staking everything out, and keeping an eye on things. So Castile, he's not totally convinced that his old friend would have went to work for the Russians, even if he is married to a Russian. But they show him some photographs on a projector of Gretzky, who appears to be in Moscow, and he's smoozing and talking with many kind of Russian officials and stuff. So there is definitely maybe something going on, and Castile wants to get to the bottom of it. So we see later on that day, he's out in the streets, he's buying a newspaper, and he's approached by an old Asian gentleman who gives him a piece of paper with an address on it. And he goes to this address, and it seems to be, I suppose, what you describe is, what would you say, like some type of like Buddhist temple or something like that? What would you
yeah.
describe this
It's
as?
definitely got some like Buddhist statues and stuff in there. I mean, they look like they could be like Thai or Cambodian kind of ones or something with little pointy hats and that. There's a lot of different Buddhist statues around the world, different groups and
Yeah,
that. But yeah, has that sort of look
and
to it.
I apologize for my ignorance on the subject. It's
Well, so some of the
but
Buddhist statues, even when you go to different countries, because of the way it's spread through India and throughout all Asia, there's a million different flavors of Buddhism, and there's so many different variations of statues, even ones that might have Indian characteristics in a completely different country over here. Like there's a lot of cross pollination of like the culture and the religious practice, along with like the stylized look, the ears, the faces, and the attire and all that.
And it's a pretty cool setting, anyway.
Yeah, it's
And
nice, and it's kind of
so,
ethereal. There's like it's kind of misty smell. I guess it's because of the heat or whatever. But it's kind of misty, open space and kind of strange when they go in there.
so Gretzky's here, and he's been waiting for Castillo, and of course, yeah, he's the Quantum Leap, the Battlestar Galactica. You've seen him in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
You know him, you love him. But here he's in somber form, and he tells Castillo he's glad to see him. Castillo tells him that he thought he had died years ago, that he heard he'd been killed, but Gretzky advises him that no, he'd just been left for dead, and he starts reminiscing about a time where him and Castillo were going up against some like local gang of bandits in Asia somewhere, and there was like a big sword fight where only the two of them were left standing, and he
and
talks about how they shouldn't have survived.
there's a nice bit of incidental dialogue that hints at future episodes for Castillo. And I don't know if it's intentional or just how they wrote it at the time and then changed after the fact. But he goes, his friend goes, oh, I've got a wife and kid there and all this. And he goes to Castillo, don't you have a family? And Castillo just pauses and goes, no. And that pause tells you like there's something else behind that. Like he did have a wife, but as far as he knows, she's dead. But spoiler alert, a couple of seasons on, turns out she's alive, and that goes into the whole Golden Triangle story. But I don't know if it's the same writer or not who worked on it, but I just love that it, whether it's intentional or accidental, it still links up in the continuity of the show really well. Because he doesn't know that she thinks she's dead, and then later on turns out she's been held hostage by a drug lord.
Yeah, no, he's yeah, there's a real pregnant pause when he's asked about his own family. That yeah, I know you do wonder. It could be just one of those things. It was totally unplanned and just kind of thrown in there,
Yeah,
but then later it kind of sprouted a seed to something great, which is I'm sure we'll deal with that episode someday as
yeah,
well.
next year. I've got them saved there. It's a 2-part Golden Triangle because I thought it was too big to cram it in with this, so we'll do it with a separate thing.
And without going too off topic here, this episode we're looking at today probably could have been a two-parter. There's enough
Yeah,
cool
easily.
ideas in it that could really be expanded on. But anyway, so Castillo, he's talking with Gretzky, and Gretzky's like, look, my wife and child mean so much to me. If anything were to ever happen to me, I'd want you to be the man to look after them and make sure they're safe. And Castillo's like, of course I do that, and you're my friend, but I can't just let you walk around and walk out of here. I'm going to have to bring you in. I'm afraid it's my duty as a policeman. I'm going to have to apprehend you. And
And that's when
Gretzky,
he
he's
turns
trying to like,
around and opens his jacket and starts rummaging around.
yes, he's like, oh, relax, Castillo. You're always so tense. Why don't you loosen that tie a bit? And like, yeah, he kind of turns his back to him, and as he kind of turns back around, he's whipping out an Uzi and like just opens fire. And Castillo, of course, he's quick to pull out his hand cannon, and
You can
he
tell
takes
that his friend like
Gretzky out.
he shoots off to the side and like misses on purpose.
Oh, totally misses on purpose. You don't miss at that close range,
No,
and you
and
can
it's
even
like the
see.
old Western thing, like they're that close, like a draw, and he's telegraphed on purpose. He's going to turn around with a gun. That's why he did it. And
Yeah, and yeah, because like nobody, unless they're doing it deliberately, is going to lose in that type of fight
yeah,
with your like fully automatic pistol versus this guy drawing a 6-shooter on you.
yeah,
So,
and the
but
the
yeah,
kind of twist is that like he didn't want to go in, but there's two things. They talk about like the code of Bushido, and he knows that his friend is like, if anything happens to me, I know you're honorable, look after my family. And then it turns out that he had like a really advanced stage cancer to the point where he shouldn't even be walking around. So he just doesn't want to live anymore, and he made his friend kill him. So it's kind of fairly horrible.
Yeah, the pretty bad way to have to go. But Castillo, yeah, he's forced to gun down his old friend to and as this happens, or just in the aftermath, you know, Tubbs and Crockett, they show up. The intelligence agency guys, they show up and they're being real douchebags about the whole situation. The intelligence guys, that is, they're like, "Oh, Castile, you did us a big favor. I mean, this guy, it was just one of those situations where we were either going to have to kill him or give him a medal. And you've really solved this problem for us. Now he's off the books, and thanks very much. And you're one of a kind. You're a real problem solver. So like totally being complete twats about the fact that this man's been forced to kind of like gun down his friend. So they kind of they just have their little banter about us, and then they kind of leave the scene. And Castile, he's kind of staring at what he's done, and Crockett's like, "What do you want us to do? What do you need us to do?" And Castile's like, "Nothing. Don't do anything." So yeah, it's actually it's a great standalone scene by itself, just that whole interaction with Castile and Gretzky leading up to the death of Gretzky. Like the whole interaction between the two of them is just so well done. The dialogue is
Yeah, it's
brilliant,
great.
the music's brilliant. It's just a great scene. And we see, yeah, it's actually it's Tubbs, I believe, who gets the call from the coroner that advises about what Johnny had told us about Gretzky having like advanced cancer pretty much all over his body. And yeah, the coroner remarked like it was a miracle that he was actually able to just even walk around and not be in intense pain. So that kind of explains his death motive a little bit, so to speak. So Tubbs and Crockett, they're getting a little bit worried about Castile, and they still don't know what the full situation is with what's going on. So they start to go around and do a little digging themselves, and they turn up at the adult bookstore kind of cover shop that we saw our two intelligence agents sitting in earlier on. And this time they walk in and they're greeted by somebody who we haven't seen yet. He introduces himself
Yeah,
as Surf, and he says that
David Rashay.
yeah, the other two guys that they're looking for aren't there. He tries to kind of banter with them a little bit, but they're not having any of it. So eventually he's like, "Okay, look, if you're looking for Castile, I just got to warn you that both the feds and the Ruskies are looking to get him. The Ruskies, especially if he has if he's protecting Gretzky's wife and child. So you can tell Rico and Tubbs don't like this Sark dude, but they take the information he gives them and they leave with that. But we see then, once they leave, that Sark walks into the room where the two intelligence agency guys were earlier, and now they're both dead. They've both been executed by Sark and two other people who it turns out they're actually KGB agents who are operating here in America. So
And
Sark,
they're
he's
real
actually like
casual about it. They're just walking past these two corpses like it's something they just do any old day, not bothered by it.
yeah, and they're pretty sinister, these KGB guys. Sarf especially because he's like a Russian who does like an American accent, like he's like a deep cover
It sounds a
agent. The
lot
other
like Sledgehammer for some reason.
yeah, the other two guys, you know, they speak in Russian, and Sarf warns them, don't be speaking in Russian around here, somebody might notice. So something is definitely going down here with the Russians. So we cut to Castile visiting an apartment complex, and he's greeted by a woman at the door who lets him in, and he's brought in to see Gretzky's wife and child. And there's kind of some confusion as to where Gretzky is. He doesn't just want Castillo doesn't want to flat out say in front of the kid that, oh well, your father's dead and I shot him. So when the kid asks, "Are we going to meet Dad?" Castillo is kind of like, "Well, he's gone ahead of us now." So the wife picks up on the fact that he's trying to kind of tell her in not so many words that her husband has died,
I like
which
the
of
little
course,
briefcase insert has one of the little half size or daggers like backup samurai
yes,
swords in there. It's like a little hint of their travels and where they've been and things they've picked up.
yeah, and of course they had mentioned she's ex intelligent as well. I don't know if they said, yeah, she might be like ex KGB, but she's definitely someone who was involved with espionage in the past, before
Probably ran into
getting together.
MacGyver as well, I bet.
Oh yeah, you can almost, yeah, you can bet a tenner on that easily. So Castile, he kind of sort of breaks the bad news to her in a roundabout way about the situation with her husband, and he advises her that, look, it's not safe to stay here in Miami. I need you to gather up your things and come with me. I'll take you to like there's like an island he plans on taking them to that's a little bit off the beaten track where he hopes they're going to be safe, temporarily while he works out a way to get them out of Miami. And we also get this nice moment in the car where Castile he's telling the story to Gretzky's child about the warriors and the
Yeah, the
Bushido. It's
samurai and
just
the
a
code of
nice little moment.
Bushido.
Doesn't get to fully finish the story though. Before
It's a
they
nice little
they get
narrative
to the
piece because he's telling
destination.
like a story or a tale, but it's in a way the kid can understand. Because the kid says, "Oh, I like stories of samurai. My dad would tell me things like this," and so the kid can understand it. But he's literally telling you that, like, basically, I had to kill your dad because it was on the
Yeah.
bound, and now I've got to look after you guys. But it's disguised as a story that the kid can hear.
So when you grow up in a few years' time, please understand,
Like, I didn't want to murder your father.
But yeah, if you're gonna be told something like that, at least it's happening in as
Don't come
eloquent
after
a
me
way
like
as
some
possible.
Yojimbo situation, and then come after me years later.
Yeah, don't kill Bill my ass. But yeah, he lets him. He tells him the story, and they they get to their destination where they're going to be kind of, I suppose, just hiding out for want of a better term. While Castile works out a way
Lay
for them
low.
to get out of town. We see as well that there's been some shenanigans afoot as Rico and Tubbs are kind of tracking down Castile. Uh, what was it? What happened here? Was it like that was there a booby trap or something that caused the
No,
explosion
the
like
other
that?
car that they parked there, the local cop guy, whoever in the brown there, wearing I think it's like the Miami Dade, like the Vice City game uniform, the brown. He's like the local, guy who works there. Just got the bolo saying to look out for the captain, all that. Crockett and Tubbs are looking for him. They know he's in this area, but they've stopped here at this like waterfront area. And they're only there a couple of minutes when this other car comes, basically does a drive-by. It comes zooming up, firing, spraying out, probably Uzis again, and then rams into that police car and shoves it into the water, and then they just take off again.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, the not
The
so
car
subtle
explodes for no
actions.
reason in that TV action movie fashion. There's no reason the car explodes, just to make it more dramatic, because they just fired bullets into metal.
Yeah, I couldn't remember, but that's right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
those two kind of bold Russian dudes we saw earlier from them.
Just
They're
a
the
cool bit of
they're the
explosion
drive-by
and
guys.
action, shoving the practical stunt of the car in the water.
We see here as well in the house, Castile kind of having a kind of an upfront discussion with Gretzky's wife, and more or less kind of apologizing for what happened and what had went down. Uh, she's obviously not best pleased with how everything has worked out, and she's still a little bit, distrustful of Castillo, but at the same time, she does also appreciate this. They are in danger, and he needed to do what he had to do.
Yeah.
And we get the sword reveal, I think, here as well, don't we? During this
Yeah, we see
moment.
it somewhere in this. It's hard to tell in those little images, but we see somewhere in the room that there is a like a like an antique samurai sword. So, but it's it's functional. It's not a. I assume it's not a replica. It's a it's a proper sword.
Yeah, damn right, it's functional. We'll get to see it in action later on, and we'll also get to see Castillo's skills in wielding it. But yeah, he's really kind of just laying it down to Gretzky's misses, and yeah, it's obviously upsetting for her. She doesn't know how she's going to get out of there. She also has knowledge that both the feds and the Russians want. So like, it's kind of a situation where they'd probably kill her eventually, but really what's most likely going to happen is they're going to want to get her, use her child most likely as leverage to get her to pretty much confess any secrets and things like that she'd know. They'd be able to use her child as a bargaining chip in that type of situation, which he's
They're a
obviously
bunch
very
of bastards at
concerned
KGB.
about. Oh, totally. Yeah. Don't get mixed up in the KGB, folks, if you can help it. That's my bit of Saturday advice for you
Not,
today.
not that the CIA is any better. It's not they wouldn't do the same
Yeah.
thing if the situation was reversed.
Now, don't get me wrong. If you're an actual Russian and it's a good line of employment, go ahead. Don't let me stop you. But yeah, we also see here after Castillo had a discussion with Grasky's wife. He then goes upstairs to where Grasky's son is coloring in, and he brings them into another room to finish telling him the story of the Bushido and that kind of tale, and basically just he's gotten them settled and put into bed for the night. And we also hear, yeah, this is where we see the kind of proper reveal, I think, of the samurai sword, which I believe belonged to Gretzky. Is that right?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
likes
like
to
because
mention
his
this,
wife has a little shorter one in the case, so it's obviously like a collectible or antique or whatever that they've gotten.
and he advises the little kid, like one day, this sword, it rightfully belongs to you, so one day you'll get to use it yourself. And yeah, the kid, he seems like a nice little kid,
Yeah,
kind of just quiet and soft spoken. But you do get to see like a softer side of Castile here, because as he's telling him the story, there is like a little bit of almost like a bonding moment where he's kind of comforting him as well, and speaking about his father. So we've gotten to kind of see with that, and like the previous scene when I'm speaking to the wife, that we do see the softer side of Castile. Um, of course, that doesn't stop Gratsky's missus from still being distrustful from him, and gut shotting him with her little blade, and grabbing her kid and trying to get out of there. The only problem is that the time she decided to do this little stunt is the exact same time that Sarp and his two KGB comrades have located them and found out where they are. So couldn't have been worse timing than trying to escape the guy that was protecting you. Than now, but the convenience of television, I suppose. It's just the way it went
yeah.
down. But what we're
I
about
mean,
to
presumably they
get
were the guys that shot up Crockett and Tubbs when they went driving by
yeah.
in the nondescript black
Oh yeah,
vehicle.
we're about to get now like just a really, and like this is why it's pretty mind blowing that this is like Edward James Olmos's directorial debut, because especially these moments that are coming up now are so well done that it's just what a great way to to make your mark in your debut. And because this is an awesome sequence. So we see Gretzky's wife and kid, they're running through this big house trying to hide from Serf and the other two Russians, and there's no dialogue during any of these moments. So Serf comes in, he kind of points in the directions he wants the other two guys to go and search, and we see this Castillo is upstairs. He's watching them as they enter the house, but he's moving silently through the corridors with his samurai sword, and he's doing that type of the samurai advance where he kind of has the sword to his side and he's kind of creeping along, and he's making the odd floorboard creak here and there, but other than that the Russians have no idea where the sounds are coming from and what's going on. He's doing like proper Metal Gear stealthing
Yeah, proper
around the
stealth.
house. Unfortunately though, Gretzky's wife and kid are not so stealthy. They're making loads of noise, they're falling about the place in the dark, and even though Gretzky's missus has a pistol at one point, she actually slips in the dark and drops it and doesn't even make much of an effort to try and find it and pick it up. She just continues on stumbling down the corridor with her kid. So Sarp, he hears all this racket and he goes kind of following that noise while the other two KGB guys are left skulking around the house looking in the other rooms. So Castillo, first of all, one of the KGB guys catches a glimpse of him running past the doorway. So he goes down into the room, with his submachine gun. And just as he steps into the archway of the door, we just see the blade of the sword coming across the screen
Yeah,
and
so good.
connecting directly with the guy's neck. And he bang, like he is gone, like he is instant death. So the other Russian KGB guy, he starts panicking and he's kind of going from room to room really quickly. And once again, he thinks he catches a glimpse of Castillo and he starts opening fire, but he hits nothing. He bursts into a restroom where he thinks Castillo is hiding, but upon looking around, he can't see him at all. So he goes to turn around, but as he's walking out of the room, the camera pans up and we see that Castillo is like wedged into the wall and the
Like a
ceiling,
ninja.
and he drops down silently. He draws the samurai sword and skewers the dude. So that's the second KGB guy dead. So we cut back to Gretzky's wife and kid. They're still kind of fumbling around in the dark, trying to look for a way out, making loads of noise the whole time. Sarf is kind of tracking them down and moving through the house, but Castile, he manages to locate them first. He's wounded, obviously, from being stuck earlier by Gretzky's misses, and he's trying to get them out of the house. They're running across the garden, and he instructs them to each
Yeah, one of those
hide
Scarface looking
behind a
guns.
tree. Yeah, total Scarface, GTA Vice City vibes going on here. And so yeah, he's like to the wife and kid, look, you guys hide, don't move. And he goes and he hides behind a tree as well. And just as all this is going on, we see Surf coming in a Cadillac, which he's pretty much driving with, like, using one leg to do the gas and like steering with his knees, because he's trying to hold his gun as well while driving. And he hops out and he's like, "Hey, my name's Surf. What's your name? Who are you, man?" Because as far as he's concerned, he's really only going after the wife and child. Castile has kind of been an unexpected fly in the ointment, so to speak, in this
Yeah.
operation. And yeah, but this guy Surf, he's like real creepy dude, and he's like, I love America, and I love being here in Miami. It's far out. You guys still say far out in Miami? Yeah, I sure do love America. And he's just been really kind of, yeah, really creepy and sardonic about the whole thing. And he's like, I'll cut you a deal if you just come out from hiding yourself, Castile. I promise that I won't kill the woman and the boy. Well, they'll just be brought back to Moscow, but no harm will come to them. And Gretzky's wife actually steps out voluntarily from behind the tree and says she'd rather be dead anyway. So just as Surf turns to kind of see her, and just as her child rushes from his own hiding place to be with her, Castillo emerges from behind the tree he was hiding behind, and he has a standoff with Surf. And even though Surf's got he's packing some heavy artillery, Castillo's not backing down. He's just standing stoically with his sword by his side, and we do get this great moment where we think there's going to be some type of action between the two. Either Surf's just going to gun him down right there and then, or you think maybe Castillo, is he going to be able to duck and dodge and maybe get up close enough with the sword? But we never actually get to see what would have happened, because just as whatever is about to happen is going to happen, all of a sudden, Crockett and Tubbs come up from behind another pair of trees, and Crockett's like, "Surf's up, pal!" And they both gun him down. That's like, what a line! What a line! The guy's name is Surf. Brilliant, just brilliant.
That's what
So
you
yeah,
want though. You people backing you up.
so they gun down old Surf, who they make sure to let us know is still alive. So he's going to be having to answer some questions when he comes around. And it's nice we did get to see, because poor Crockett and Tubbs in this episode, they've only really probably appeared in about like 5 minutes of the episode
Yeah,
altogether when you
it's
put all
good
their
because they're
bits.
in most of the episodes. So it's good when they take a back seat and show off the side characters, because they do rotate through the seasons and have like solo episodes with like Gina, Big Booty Trudy, not her name, but they call her that as a joking nickname in the show because they're often undercover as prostitutes. And I always forget the names of the other guys, Larry and the other dude, that are often sitting in the van doing surveillance and that. But they're like buddies that hang out to like the B team sort of thing. But each of those characters all get kind of solo episodes throughout the season, so they explore all the backgrounds on that. So it's good.
Gina and Trudy are gorgeous ladies as well, and
Oh yeah, it's amazingly well
Trudy looked
displayed.
great at the beginning of this episode in her roller skates.
Yeah,
Very fine indeed.
yeah, you get to see them in a lot of different fancy outfits through the seasons.
Yeah, especially when they're going undercover as like local
Mm,
vice hookers or whatever.
yeah,
But yeah, we see now
which is kind of
at the
silly
end.
because they're often undercover as like prostitutes and that, but they're too well dressed. They would be more like high class call girls in like a fancy hotel. They
Yeah,
shouldn't be out on the street. Doesn't really make sense.
yeah, you'd have to pay a lot extra to be getting with these ladies.
Yeah,
But we see Castile. He thanks Tubbs and Crockett for their intervention, and he manages to get Gretzky's family on board a boat, which sets off. So they're heading off to safety wherever they're going to end up, and we get the moment of kind of Tubbs and Crockett kind of just pondering what it is that just went on with
yeah,
Castile
it's
and
like the old
everything else.
westerns and that.
He just walks away in silence, his usual stoic self, gives very little away. And I have to remark as well, like the music in Miami Vice is always brilliant, but the music in this episode particularly is excellent. The soundtrack is excellent, just to go
Yeah,
with
it's
the
really good.
whole tone and vibe, of the episode. Before,
And I
of
love
course,
seeing
we
the
get our.
beautiful Miami scenery here too at the end, the outdoors and that. And
Yeah, always loved the end credits for this show as well, just like the intro, brilliant. A Michael Mann production. Well, it was one of these days. I know we're going to do other episodes of Miami Vice, but
yeah,
we'll have to look at some of Michael Mann's other work in the
yeah,
movie
heat is
side of
on.
things.
Heat is on. There'll be some
Heat is on.
collateral damage.
Might be. We might have to go on a manhunt.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of, Manhunt, the early 80s.
Yeah, great episode. Um, like we said at the beginning, definitely one of our favorites. Castile is such a cool character, so you
Yeah,
know
and
you're
like
going to be
before
in
this,
for
we
a
just know
treat.
him as a kind of stodgy police captain by the book and pretty quiet. And you see this episode, like, holy shit! It's like there's a lot more to this character.
He's just such a Edward James Olmos is just such a cool dude. Like in anything he's ever in, like he's great as Gaff in Blade Runner. He's kind of pretty much hardly any dialogue in the movie, but just a really cool character. Really stands out. He's just,
I
and
love
of
just
course,
like when you see him, he really does suit that like samurai kind of ethos. He's like quiet and slow moving and still, and he doesn't blink. It's like he doesn't blink, you blink.
and of course, in more modern times, we got to enjoy him as Admiral
Ah,
Adama in Battlestar Galactica,
yeah, he's so
another
good.
fantastic role. Yeah, great guy, great actor, and yeah, the character of Castillo is just awesome. Love him.
Yeah, brilliant episode, and we've got a bunch of other shows planned out, but next year we'll definitely do Golden Triangle, which is another Castile focused episode. It's a 2-part special. It's basically like a whole movie length type special, really, because it's 2 episodes, but it goes seamlessly together. And it's really good, and it gets into his full background and other stuff, and it really gets into his whole everything that's basically comes before he became part of Miami Vice. So it goes from being just kind of written little 1-page bio to actually seeing and traveling outside of Miami to into the Golden Triangle in Asia, which is like reference to the sea lanes of the drug routes.
Yeah, no, an awesome episode. And like I was kind of saying with this one earlier, you nearly could have done this as a 2-parter, I think,
Yeah,
this
easily.
particular episode. Because that the Russian guy, Sir, like he's a really cool character, and you could have probably fleshed him out a little bit more.
Mm.
Um, the two American agency guys, you probably could have done a little bit more with them. It's crazy that they cram so much into like 40 something minutes
But
of
it
TV time in
doesn't
this
feel
episode.
rushed, even though they could have easily done it longer as well.
Yeah, yeah, but it's mad how much they're able to just like get across in that short
Yeah,
amount of time. Yeah, no need for a be continued here. We'll get
yeah.
it all in.
But yeah, I was definitely looking forward to doing the sequel to this one next year with the Golden Triangle, because it's just so damn good. It's just as good as this episode here. There's like so much more good background stuff, and it really gets into like the whole, not just the background of Castile, but like there's a big drug lord guy who basically has held hostage his wife, whom he thought was dead, and he lures Castile out to come and see him away from Miami, where once he's outside of Miami, he's got no authority as a police captain. He's just a guy. So
Yeah, just a John Everyman,
yeah,
no connections. Oh yeah,
yeah. Next week's show we'll be back doing Halloween, kicking off our John Carpenter theme because we're going to do several in a row.
looking forward to it. One of my favorites, big favorite of my wife's as well. She's a big
Yeah,
Halloween fan. Yeah, so
like a bit of synth.
yeah, we believe in JC in this house.
Yeah, Jim Crockett,
Jim
Jim
Cornette.
Cornette, John Cleese, one of them.
Yeah, so many great JCs out there. You
Yeah.
can, whether you choose to worship them religiously or not. I'll
But yeah, when
also,
I think of JC, my number one, when I was a kid, my number one JC would probably been watching old Python and that other court. But as an adult, my number one JC is almost said Jim, but Sean Carpenter.
I'll also mention, just because it will probably happen sometime after this episode drops today
Oh,
on
about the
YouTube.
yeah,
Our buddy Grindhead Jim is doing like a
yes,
charity stream later on over on his channel. So go check it out. You never know. You might see Johnny and myself. Who knows if we're awake and alive by that time. But it's for a good
or
cause. So
hopefully
even
be
if we're not
alive or
there,
reanimated.
yeah, maybe drop on over and support them and do what you can. It's for
Yeah,
helping
that's
kids who are
Grindhead Jim,
ill. Grindhead Jim, go check him out. Great guy and a great cause.
and it's like 12 hours, isn't it? He's doing.
Yeah, 12-hour stream. He's going to be
Yeah,
tired, so
so
he's
there's
going to
plenty of
need
time to check it out.
yeah, plenty of time to check it out, and yeah, go over there and give the
We're
man a hand.
like, this is pre-record, but I'll be uploading this the next hour, so this should be up a couple hours before Grindhead. So if you're seeing this as the brand new thing that's popped up in your news, it means it's still, like it's still several hours away from now. So
Exactly, because we're talking to you from the past.
Yes,
Ooh.
about the future. And I will not
Ooh.
disappear like Marty McFly in Back to the Future in the photo.
Yeah, real Twilight Zone stuff going on. But yeah, it's going to be a great run of shows coming up for us, kicking off
Yep,
with
Halloween,
Halloween.
The Fog. I can read my card over here because I always forget. Prince of Darkness and The Thing.
It's going to be so good. And I hope everybody's enjoyed our foray into the 80s TV shows. I know this one wasn't a pilot, but still, it's in that vibe of great
That
shows
spirit.
from the past that we all loved and
The,
enjoyed.
shelf, the
Our
shows that sit on my shelf just to the left of my desk over there in the box sets.
our Knight Rider one seems to have gone down a treat with our viewers, so hopefully
Yeah.
you'll
There's
enjoy
always people thinking it's
today's one.
actually the pilot and they just accidentally find our podcast, but I don't care. If it means more people find it, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it's not our fault, folks, that the algorithm does this to you. You
Yeah.
know, at the end of the day, you did it to
If you want
yourself.
it, just look on torrents. It's on there. So I mean, I've got my box set, but if you well, they did find it, it's on there.
And if you want the ultimate experience, you watch the thing that you're looking for, and then you go listen to our show afterwards. You'll have a
Yeah,
great
there you
time.
go.
Well worth the money you don't pay for it.
But yeah, thanks for checking out the show, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Take care, folks.